between Kristaps Porzingis and now Boban? I do. I mean, damn. Yeah, that is a good point. It is a good point. It is a good point. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you. Eric, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Stephen A., it's a pleasure to talk to you this morning. I just wanted to go back to what you were talking about earlier about Kawhi joining the Lakers and how you like to see him join the Clippers maybe and see the guys play against each other.
Okay.
Well, I just want to go back to remind you about a time when the Lakers put together another star-studded team, even though a couple of the stars were a little older, Shaq, Kobe, Karl Malone, and
really? That's where you going? That's where you going, really?
No,
why would that be an analogy? Why?
Well, because don't forget that they did go to the championship, but they lost to a team.
Your fault. So, listen, I see what you're saying. You talk about when they lost to Detroit.
Exactly.
Listen, what I'm telling you is this. Karl Malone wasn't Karl Malone anymore, and Gary Payton certainly wasn't Gary Payton anymore.
They were a little older. You know, I know they were a little older.
They weren't in the primes of their career. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay. I got you.
You know better than that. You couldn't compare that. How the hell are you going to even bring that up as a comparison with LeBron and AD 26 and Kawhi being 27?
I'm not comparing. I'm not really trying to compare. I'm just trying to say that's why they play the game. Even though you might have a super team, don't necessarily mean that you're going to win. That's why they play the game. So in other words, you held online to get on the phone on the national airwaves to tell me that's why you play the games. That's the best you could do? Just to remind you, because I know you know that.
That's the best you could do. To remind me. You called up to be on hold to remind me that they still got to play the games. Wow.
That's the best I got today.
Happy 4th of July.
That's not good enough.
That's not good enough for me. It's not good enough for me. You can do better than that. Have a good day, though. Enjoy the 4th of July. Don't eat too many hot dogs and burgers, but eat some.
Thunder and asked to be traded to the Clippers. He wanted to play with Kawhi Leonard.
It's one thing to see Kawhi end up a Clipper. It's another thing to see the Clippers pull off getting him with Paul George. That is a shock.
There's no price too high. You can think of all those picks and pick swaps and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Danilo Gallinari.
729-3776. Before I go back to the phones, here's what I was told. Essentially, it came down to this. Kawhi Leonard obviously wanted to go to the Clippers. Had an hour meeting with the Lakers. Had a 3.5-hour meeting with the Clippers. Steve Ballmer, Lawrence Frank, Jerry West, Doc Rivers, all in the mix. Clippers front office did a phenomenal job. Ballmer is Ballmer. Doc Rivers and Jerry West are who they are. One could argue if the Lakers had Magic Johnson, they might have had a better chance. I don't think so. I think that Kawhi is a different animal. Want to do what he wanted to do. I think he would have gone to the Lakers if the Clippers hadn't made the deal for Paul George. He wasn't going back to Toronto because he didn't want to be in Toronto. He wanted to be in L.A. That's where he tried to go last year when the Spurs refused to cooperate. Okay? He wanted to be in L.A. And the way to pull that off was he was either going to be with the Clippers, knowing that the Clippers could not afford for him to play in the same arena in the same city with LeBron and AD, the Clippers would have returned to the dark ages. So kudos to the Clippers to get it done because they had to do the deal. They just had to do it. But anyway, balance of power is simple. The NBA, parity, here's what you got. Both LA teams, Portland, Denver, Houston, okay? So that's 5 right there. Utah, 6. San Antonio, 7. Legitimately 7 teams. And then in the Eastern Conference, you got Brooklyn, you got Boston, to a lesser degree Milwaukee, Philadelphia. So you got 10 to 11 teams that legitimately can contend. And that's without Klay Thompson, because that makes 8 in Golden State, because he'll eventually be back next season. And then you got KD in Brooklyn. We ain't had this NBA season upcoming. I mean, should I just make my arrangements to move to LA? I mean, well, why the hell be in New York? KD ain't going to be back in all likelihood until late next season, if that. And there's nothing else to really, really celebrate here. I mean, to me, Los Angeles, California, L.A., is the basketball hub. That's what it is right now. It's the Mecca. Say that about New York. Say that about Madison Square Garden. I got news for you. The Staples Center is the Mecca, Nuno. It's the Mecca. 82 nights a year, you got championship caliber basketball at the Staples Center. 82 nights, not including the playoffs. Wow. Carter, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I just want to ask you, so supposedly there was trade rumors that the Raptors didn't want to involve Pascal Siakam in a trade with the Thunder for involving
that's true.
Russell Westbrook and Paul George. But do you think if the Raptors were to include Pascal Siakam and that trade went through, do you think Kawhi would have possibly re-signed in Toronto if Paul George and Russell Westbrook were traded to Toronto?
I personally don't believe it. I think that Kawhi Leonard was coming to L.A. I think all of that is noise. He was coming to L.A. It was not going to be Toronto. Now, the Clippers, like I said, I reported this. L.A. was in the mix, but the Clippers firmly believed that the Lakers had no shot at Kawhi ahead of them and that it would be them or the Toronto Raptors. I'm of the belief there's no way in hell that Kawhi was going back to Toronto. It was always going to be L.A. because he wants to live in Southern California. That's what I believed.
So do you think it was not a great idea for Toronto to not include Pascal Siakam, or do you think it was a good idea keeping him?
I think it was a good idea. I think it was a good idea to keep Siakam because he's young, you're champions, and you bought yourself some time to rebuild. Think about it. Who's going to complain about if there's one executive that's playing with house money right now? It's Masai Ujiri. You just won the NBA championship and the NBA Finals MVP left to go out west. So if anybody can make the legitimate case, we're rebuilding, we're retooling, restocking, who the hell is there to question them? Who can do that? Nobody can do that. And that is what you have to remember. All right? Appreciate the call. Carlos, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Are you, my brother? It's an honor to be in your show.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for having my phone call.
Como está?
Love you guys very much, especially you.
All right, man.
I got one question for you, my brother. Westbrook to Miami Heat. What do you think?
I'd like it. I'd like him there with Jimmy Butler. I'm just of the mindset, what you going to do to get him? I don't know what they can do to get Russell Westbrook. I mean, Russell Westbrook is owed $170 million over the next 4 years. That's an average of $42 million. I just don't know what you can do to get him. Right now, you talk about 4 years, $170 million. That's an average of $42.5 million. And then when you look at Miami right now, who they got? You got Jimmy Butler, okay? So what are you going to do? Goran Dragic is still on your books. James Johnson, Deion Waiters. You know, you want somebody to take that salary off your hands if you're Sam Presti in Oklahoma City. I just don't know if Miami's the team that can do it. They'll be a solid team, a good team. If they get Russell Westbrook, they'll be in the mix in the Eastern Conference. I don't think there's any question about that. I just don't know if they can pull it off. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Dave. You're live with Stephen A.
Hey, Stephen A., man. First of all, it's a pleasure to talk to you, my man.
Thank you. Go ahead. Real quick. Go ahead.
Real quick, I want to compare the East to the West. The East always been bad, but now the West is a superpower. That kind of kills the NBA, doesn't it?
No, because think about it. Toronto just won the championship, and no team is definitively exponentially superior to the other. Like, for example, if Philadelphia was 100% healthy and they ended up in the finals, all right, against one of the LA teams, look at what you got. You got Horford and Embiid. You got Ben Simmons. You got Tobias Harris. Think about what you got. And so when you look at the Western Conference, yes, they've got 2 superstars, but it's not like they got 4. You see what I'm saying? The deck is not stacked like that. Plus, they would be beating up on each other. And I think a lot of times people get mixed up with that. The East, in comparison to the West, only matters when you're looking at the finals. If you have a superior team out West and somebody comes out the East, can that team in the East compete with that team in the West?
I would take Utah and win the East.
Say what? So what?
Utah could go. Are
you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Utah could make it to the Western Conference Finals next year.
Absolutely, but they could win the East.
But listen to what I'm saying. Because they could win the East, they can challenge to win in the West. So that's a bad example because they can beat almost anybody.
Them 2 different things.
All right, man. I tried. Have a nice day. I got to run. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. What are you saying? There's always going to be a favorite. The question is, can they be beat? If there's a question mark, then that makes it interesting. There's always a favorite in every sport. That doesn't. The issue is not whether or not somebody's a favorite. The issue is the balance of power so traumatic that you might as well not even play the games. If Kawhi had joined AD and LeBron, that's too much. But 2 of them is fine. Toronto just showed you could possibly knock that off. 888-SAY-ESPN, back with your calls and more to close out the show in a minute. This is Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, if you missed any of the show today, go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. Smith podcast, brought to you by Eno, the Capital One assistant that catches things that might look wrong with your credit card, sends an alert to your phone, and helps you fix them. Hey, what's in your wallet? See CapitalOne.com for details.
Kawhi Leonard is going to join the Clippers.
This is an amazing, amazing night for the Los Angeles Clippers. It's historic.
Clippers organization, top to bottom, has run like a well-oiled machine.
Barbasol, for the past 100 years, generations of